What is high ticket sales, and welcome to Bootcamp 2026. For every single one of you guys that are watching this video right now, you guys already know my journey, okay? If you are familiar with the page, you know my journey. But if you're not, first things first, you're going to find out how me, David, the person who in front of this video right now has been able to make over 17K plus per month, generate over 7 figures in sales, or practically over 8 figures now, over 8 figures in sales for himself and for his clients, how I've been able to help other people do that. And what's made me into the man I am now, the business owner, where I've got financial freedom, time freedom, and I'm just living my high income, my high energy lifestyle, okay? Over the next few months, not only am I just going to show you this in this video, but over the next few months, I am going to be making a bootcamp series where I walk you through the exact step-by-step mechanism that took me from a broke corporate 9-to-5 worker in London at 18. Here's a picture of me back in 2023. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was at like 6 a.m. I walked into my mum's room. As you can see me, this is the first time I was ever going to work. It took me from a broke corporate 9-to-5 worker in London to me now, the David that you see recording this video, a 6-figure 20-year-old who makes over 15K plus per month every single month. And the way I've been able to do this is by using one core skill: high ticket sales. Now, if you're familiar with my page, like I said, you already kind of know what high ticket sales is. And this is essentially just going to be used to elevate you to the next level. If you're watching this video right now, you're either going to be a complete beginner, that you've never ever heard of high ticket sales, but you want to be able to make money online. You want to find the best way for you to be able to enter in the door. Or you might be already a sales rep. You might already be in high ticket sales. Then this bootcamp is still for you, because this bootcamp is what we're going to use to elevate you to the next level and make it so that you're making those 10, 15, even 20K plus months, like I help tons of other closers do as well, and sales reps. But if you're not familiar with high ticket sales, if you're only watching this video, let me explain what high ticket sales is, okay? Two people right here that you might recognize, okay? First things first is we've got the info of the online business GOAT, Iman Gadzhi. And second of all, we've got Alex Hormozi. Even if you've never heard of making money online before, you probably recognize these two faces, okay? Every single one of you guys are familiar with these two people, the undisputed GOATs at the moment, of the online business. These people make multiple millions every single month online from selling products and services. And now, even if you know these guys, as skilled as they are, as you understand is they make all of their money from selling their services, helping other people get into whatever it is they're doing. They make all of their money from their online products and their services right now. As skilled as these guys are, because we can all agree that these guys are some of the most skilled people ever in the world, they can do a lot of the selling of their products themselves, but 70% of the selling that they need to do, and 70% of their customers that turn into people that actually buy from them, they need to be pushed over the line. They need to be sold to, okay? And these business owners, these two people watching here, like these business owners that make millions of pounds a month, not only do they not have the time, the bandwidth, or the energy, they do not have the ability to sell every single person and help every single person who wants to buy their product, okay? They just don't have the time to do it themselves. And this is where high ticket sales, this is where we come in, and this is where I've been able to use to make 17K plus per month every single month. Now, these business owners, people like Iman Gadzhi and Alex Hormozi, they use high ticket sales reps to book and close appointments for their business. And those high ticket sales reps that book and close appointments for their business collect anywhere from 10 to 15% commission on the deals that the appointment set or close that actually collect the cash, okay? So to just, explain, high ticket sales reps, appointment setters and closers, they book and close appointments. Whenever the customers pay money, because the high ticket sales reps are the people that are running that, okay, they're doing the sales for them, we collect 10 to 15% of commission on the deals that close. Appointment setters, okay, are the people that handle the DMs, that handle Iman Gadzhi's Instagram, that handle Alex Hormozi's Instagram, and book prospects that want to buy the services, book people that are interested in being their customers. Appointment setters are the ones that book them onto calls, okay? Closers are the ones that take the calls that the appointment setters have just booked, close the deals, and collect the cash from the calls. Business owners, Sole Focus, and people like Alex Hormozi, Iman Gadzhi, these guys barely even run the business, okay? Their only focus is the marketing, making the product better and building the brand. Their only focus is the marketing. They focus on the marketing, the appointment setters and the closers handle the sales, the actual selling of the product. And then, they have someone managing the operations. Let's use Iman Gadzhi as an example, right? Because you're probably thinking, how does this work? Roughly, how much does Iman Gadzhi make per month? It's estimated that Iman Gadzhi makes about 1.5 million every single month. It's probably a lot higher than that, right? But we'll just lowball it, okay? 1.5. Say Iman Gadzhi collects 1.5 million every single month. Meaning that every single month he brings in 1.5 million in cash into his business. Now, 1.5 million times 12, that's $18 million or pounds every single year. And he has high ticket sales reps working for him, okay? Iman Gadzhi does not do all of the selling himself, neither does Alex Hormozi. He is quite practically impossible for someone by themselves to do all of the sales to collect 1.5 million a month. Like, you'll never be able to meet a business that they are the only person that collects the cash, right? He has high ticket sales reps working for him, meaning that every single month, let's say if a setter, an appointment setter, the person that books the meetings, let's say if a setter is on 10% commission, okay, they take home 150k every single month just from booking appointments onto Iman Gadzhi's calendar, closer's calendar, and once the deals are closed, they take 10% of the commission, okay, meaning that every single month they are bringing in 150k cash from sales without running a business, without making their own product, quite literally selling for somebody else. Okay, let's take his closers, for example. If his closers are on 15%, they take home every single month 225k just from closing the deals, okay? All from simply handling his sales, helping him sign new customers, okay, without starting a business or without having to make their own product. Simply for selling for someone who's already done the hard work, okay? This is a screenshot of my Stripe last month, okay? This is exactly how I've been able to make over 15k last month and over six figures in the year of 2025, okay? But last but not least, this is exactly how I've been able to help thousands of other people that you can go on my Instagram and see, you can go on my YouTube and see. This is exactly how I've been able to help tons of other people do the same as well. And over the next few months, step by step, I've made this bootcamp that you're watching this video and that you're going to see me releasing. I've made this video step by step to show you exactly how. Starting from the mindset shift, all the way to landing your first role, all the way to making your first bit of money online, all the way to, scaling to, like I said, the 10 to 15 to 20k plus per month. We are going to break down exactly step by step how easy it is to start living that dream life that you're watching this video for, how to break into high ticket sales, and how to also become a top performer. If you're watching this video right now and you think it's going to be easy, I promise you it's not. I don't want you to look at this video. You think if you're looking for a quick cash grab, a quick opportunity where you're going to make $1 million over the next weekend, just don't watch my videos. Leave this channel right now. This is not going to be easy whatsoever. However, this is going to be simple. It's time to take it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, like, turn on post notifications because I am going to be dropping these videos in ferocious fashion. Let's go. I'll speak to you guys soon. Do you want to know what the biggest myth in high ticket sales is? The biggest myth in high ticket sales is, and the biggest myth, like in general, in the online spaces, is that high ticket sales as a business model, high ticket sales as a way to make money. The biggest myth is that it's saturated, right? Somewhere along the line, someone started spreading rumors and limiting beliefs that there's too many people in the high ticket sales industry and that it's hard to make money. And the truth is, right, they're right. There are a lot of sales reps in the high ticket sales space, and there are a lot of people in high ticket sales that are absolutely broke, okay? And the truth is that, it is hard to make money in high ticket sales. They are right, but they're not right in the way you think they are, okay? High ticket sales is saturated with, excuse my language, shit reps. Like shit reps who don't make money, don't have the skill on how to make money, barely know how to make money. It's just a business model that they watch someone on YouTube talk about one day and and just decided to put high ticket sales in their bio and hope they become a millionaire by tomorrow, right? There is a lack of high ticket sales reps that are good and that can make money, okay? However, there is an abundance, and when I say an abundance, I mean an abundance of business owners that need good sales reps. There are an abundance of high ticket sales of online businesses that need good appointment setters, that need good closers, okay? There are an abundance of them. And the reason why I know this, because you're probably like, why should I take this guy's example for it? Like, why should I take this guy? The reason I know this is because someone who manages sales teams of business owners doing anywhere from 100K to 200K plus per month, for someone that has built sales teams for billion-dollar companies, and I say that I've built sales teams and I've run record-breaking road trips for billion-dollar companies and billion-pound companies, okay? I wouldn't have business owners in my DMs begging me for good reps and crying out that they can't find good people to sell for them, okay? The reason I know this is because I manage sales teams. I sit across the table from business owners who need sales reps. And the biggest bottleneck that people say that they have right now is finding good appointment setters, right? But for you watching this video right now, whether you're a sales rep or whether you're not a sales rep, that should fill you with probably the most ever confidence that you've ever felt in your life. If you're someone who's in high ticket sales, or if you're wanting to get into sales, the fact that there is an insane amount of sales reps, but only so few of them are actually good, that should probably fill you with the most excitement that you've ever felt in years, your whole life, okay? Because that means there is a gap that needs to be filled. And if you're able to come in and be a good appointment setter, you will 1000% change your business's life. So today, I'm going to be breaking down why reps are so shit and why the majority of reps stay broke. Why the 20% of reps make a disgusting amount of money, and what actually makes a valuable sales rep in today's market, and how you can actually become one, all right? So let's get really clear on one thing, first things first. The saturation lie, okay? The biggest lie of a high-ticket sales space, okay? Take a look at every industry in the world. I want you to think about it: sports, fitness, real estate, Hollywood, okay? All of those industries follow the 80-20% rule. And that 80-20% rule is that the bottom 80% of subpar individuals with not a lot of skill and that are pretty much mediocre never make it. And they have to go and find normal jobs. Like, think about football players that have just fallen off of the map. Think about fitness creators that, you remember from time ago that have just worked in normal jobs. Real estate. Think of actors that are just terrible, that they have to, work a normal 9 to 5, okay? The bottom 80% of individuals with not a lot of skill and that are pretty mediocre, they never make it and they have to go and find normal jobs. They're just all pretty broke, right? However, in all of these industries and in any other industry in the world, all 20%, the top 20%, of the people claim all the money. They claim all of the awards. They claim all of the prizes. They claim all of the notoriety, okay? So is that saturation or is that just the skill level? Because truly, if in any industry, no matter what industry it is, there's always going to be an 80% of people that are just terrible, but there's always going to be a 20% of the people that are at the top. That's not saturation. It's just a skill issue. It's the fact that those bottom 80% of the people don't have the skills or they don't have what it takes to get to that next level. Okay? So if sales was truly saturated, businesses, they wouldn't have low close rates. They wouldn't have low show rates. They wouldn't have low booking rates. They wouldn't have low cash collected. They wouldn't have no follow-ups, and businesses wouldn't have money issues, okay? These are all symptoms of bad sales, not saturation, okay? These are all symptoms of businesses with not good sales reps, which is where you watching this video right now, you come in because you are able to plug in an insane gap the majority of the people aren't plugging in right now because they don't have the skill and they're not good enough yet. So here's why the majority of our reps stay busy but broke, and here is exactly how you fix it. First things first here is we've got a lot of reps just do a lot of activity with no impact, okay? Now, activity is super important, but what you cannot do is go through the motions. The majority of sales reps in the online space right now, they just go through the motions. They send the messages, they take the calls, they show up daily and they work daily. But they miss probably the most important thing that you need to achieve in anything. The most important thing that you need the most important thing that you need to get ahead in life and get better. They miss intention, okay? Intention is probably the most important thing that you can have in life, okay? And I love to use the analogies like when you go to the gym, you can have different intentions. You can go to the gym to maintain weight. You can go to the gym just to go to the gym. Or you can go to the gym to gain muscle, gain strength, lose weight. Notice how you're still doing the exact same thing, but one person that achieves all of their goals, okay? You see that person that goes to the gym, he's got about 10 out of 10 physique, he's a stud. And the person that goes to the gym every day but still fat is the intention. They're missing the intention to get better, because just putting in the reps, just showing up with no intention is not going to get you anywhere. You're not compounding momentum. You're just doing the same thing daily and hoping that one day something will stick, okay? You're not being innovative with how you do things. You're not having a core focus and getting better. They're just being a victim to the days, and they hope it all works out. They hope one day they find a rub that makes them an insane amount of money just because they've gone through the motions, but they don't have the intention. They're not doing anything, and they're not thinking, how can I make it so that this is what happens, that I'm not waiting, but I actually manufacture this. The next thing, the next biggest bottleneck people have is there's no stack of skills, right? Most sales reps will learn one script, a few objection handles, watch a few YouTube videos, and decide, you know what, I've got all of the info that I need to win now. I'm never going to invest into my learning again. I'm never going to go and learn again, or I'm never going to go make sure I voluntarily learn. I've got a sales script, that's fine. I've just been given everything and I'm just going to use that. They're quite literally robots. They won't go deeper. They won't try and pull back the layers and understand important things like bias psychology, decision-making, reframes and pre-handles, what makes prospects and sales tick, okay? How do they trigger urgency? Okay, what are prospects' identity, and how do they shift them? They won't look deep into the pocket, and they won't look deep into the prospects that they're speaking to and try and figure it out. And then they'll wonder why they never win. They're not constantly learning. They're not seeking new info. They're not seeking to become better. They are playing the game so surface level. And if you're watching this video right now, you might be a victim of this. Obviously, you're watching this video right now, which is good. You've clearly changed in that. But you might have been in this situation as well, okay, whether you're in sales or not, where you're so surface level. You're not really trying to understand what it is that you need to do to get to that next level. And it goes back to that main thing I spoke about, is that intention, okay? You can't be playing the game surface level, okay? You need to really be pulling back the covers and understanding exactly how it is that you can get better. And then finally, they just don't have that savage mentality. They're here to take part. They're not here to take over, okay? They don't have that belief. They don't have that drive in themselves. They simply see high-ticket sales as another job. They've got that part-time mindset. They've got that get-rich-quick scheme mindset where they want to become a millionaire next week without actually having the skills of how they're going to become a millionaire next week. No one with a part-time mindset has ever won. You have to believe you want to be the best. You have to believe that you want to be in that top 20%. And then you have to act like it. You have to move like it. You have to behave like that person. You have to think, what would that person do? And then you do it, okay? The reason why the top 20% reps make money is quite simple, okay? It's simple, but it's not easy. The reason why the majority of the top reps make money, make most money in high-ticket sales, it's not because they're working harder. They're just simply operating at a different level. They're constantly learning. They're the most coachable. They're hungry to be the best. They ask the most questions. They've got the best fucking attitude, and they maintain that attitude when it gets tough. They stay disgustingly consistent, and they behave like true A players, which is why businesses fight to keep them. Truthfully, I've managed sales reps, right? I've had sales reps on my team where, I've fought to keep them. Genuinely, it's like, if they left, it would have just been such a ball ache. I'd have had to find someone that's as good as that, and they're always hot property. They're the ones that have never got an issue, or they've never got an issue with finding an offer, because they've got that top 20% mindset, okay? They've got that student mindset. They go above and beyond, okay? They understand that genuinely, in order to be the best, you just have to act like the best. You have to behave like the best. You have to do the best. You have to be the most communicative, and you have to really want it. That's the number one thing, and that's why businesses, and that's why I've fought to keep them, okay? And finally, they just don't say these things they operate like these things, you know? They don't say they are a top 20% rep. They operate like they are. They operate like they're a high-level rep, okay? And that is how they become that top 20%, okay? So now that you understand, okay, first of all, why the majority of reps are broke and why the top reps make the most money, let's step into that mindset. Let's actually become a good rep. Let's step into that frame. Okay. First things first is we need to be understanding the psychology and the buyer, okay? Sales is truthfully so simple. Once you understand the type of people that you're speaking to, how individuals make decisions, what pushes them to take decisions, and what holds them back for not making decisions, things like fear, risk, identity, tie downs, urgency. Once you understand your prospects, you will automatically be a good sales rep, right? But it's all good at understanding it, but you need to take that action, okay? Like I said, you need to operate like with these things, okay? But the first thing and how you become a good sales rep is first things first, you want to understand who you're speaking to. And you want to understand sales at a very core and a foundational level. The next thing that A-player sales reps do is that they control the frame of their sales conversations. Bad sales reps are constantly like reacting to DMs. They're constantly reacting on sales calls, okay? But A players are predicting and they're leading. Good reps understand how to control the frame, the conversation, and guide it to where they want to take it. Like when you're appointment set, and I always say it, right? You always want to think about what are they going to reply to this message, and you want to send messages that make them reply a certain way, or that you kind of know what they're going to respond. Because guess what? If you know what they're going to respond, you can already be thinking about what you're going to respond to that, and how you're going to respond to that, and how you're going to get the call booked. They don't over-explain, they understand how to stay calm under pressure, and they're in control of their emotions, okay? If you're in control of your emotions, you're in control of yourself. A big thing that I teach to my one-to-one students and to my students in my community is that if you're in control of your emotions, you will always win. If you've got control of your circle of emotions, you don't focus on the past, you don't focus on the future, you focus on the present, Lisp came in there, you will fucking win, okay? And they also just think long-term. Bad sales reps are in it for a quick cash grab. They're in it just to collect as much cash as possible, but not build the skills and capability to become A players in the long term. This shows in their day-to-day sales, the way they message, the way they talk to prospects, the way they operate. Like if your prospects can tell you're just here for the cash, you're here for a cash grab, and that you're not really like brought in, they're just not going to want to buy from you. It's the same way why I've been able to make so many people work with me is because they can tell it's not just for the cash, it's actually about building something, building an empire. And that is what you need to understand when you're in sales. And finally, they take control. The worst thing that you can have in sales is a victim mentality, okay? Blaming everyone, blaming everything, and blaming everyone else but yourself. Not taking accountability for what you can be doing better, or understanding that when you're in the wrong, that when everything isn't going your way, it's everyone's fault but yourself. Truthfully, this is how you stay broke. The best individuals in any field understand that everything is in their control, and they take pride in knowing that they have the power to change everything. You can truly craft your dream scenarios by just deciding and then doing what it takes. And they've got that savage mentality that you truly need to thrive in sales, okay? Truthfully, if you take these core principles and you understand them, you think about them, okay? You understand exactly what it is that you need to do and how you can become a good sales rep and how you can become that top 20%, not that bottom 80%. First things first is you'll realize that higher ticket sales is not saturated whatsoever, and that you realize that it is in your hands, it is in your capability, it is in your power to become a top performer. I hope you guys have enjoyed that video. If you've got any questions, let me know. This was the second episode of Bootcamp. And yeah, we're just going to be getting these videos out for you ruthlessly and raw. Just making sure that you guys have got everything you need to become a high performance sales rep, okay? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever you address yourself as, welcome to episode 3 of the High Ticket Sales Bootcamp. And this part of the series is getting hired. Okay, we've gone through the mindset, we've gone through what high ticket sales is. You've already, if you're watching this video right now, you probably understand, all right, cool, this is something that I can do. This is something I can see myself doing, and this is something I want to put my all into. You understand it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You understand that you're not just going to be able to sit from your little laptop in Bali, making money and everything's going to be cushy. You're going to have to work. But the upside and the money that you will be able to make from high-ticket sales, you understand all of that. Now it's about getting started, right? And in order to get started, what do we need to do? We need to be able to get hired for business owners, okay? We need to be able to find someone to appointment set for or close for. And this is what we're going to be covering in this episode, right? But we're going to be covering the main and the first pillar of that, which is profile optimization. By the way, side note, as you guys can see, I'm not in rainy UK right now. I am in sunny Thailand, out here in Thailand for the next 2 months, I'll say minimum, to just lock in. So you guys are going to be getting an insane amount of vlogs. So insane amount of vlogs and insane amount of content. So watch out for that. But yeah, let's get into it. Profile optimization, right? Now, getting hired as a sales rep genuinely is probably one of the most simplest things in the world, okay? However, you watching this video right now, you probably see people online that overcomplicate it, make it sound like the most confusing thing ever, when really and truly it's not even that hard. Like, people online make it sound like you have to run all the way to India and back, slap someone's auntie and sign a client, and then, you'll actually be able to find someone to work for. But really and truly, all you have to do is gauge 3 principles, right? Tools, the processes, and the execution, okay? And what I'm about to be covering first is the tools part of exactly what it is that you need to do in order to optimize your profile, which is essentially going to get yourself hired, right? Because the tools is what you use in order to be able to get hired. And the tools are going to be obviously an optimized profile, a good outreach message, and accounts to outreach, okay? But the number one thing we're going over is an optimized profile today. So this is what my profile looked back in the day when I was outreaching, right? This was literally my profile about 2 years ago. Here, as you can see, a nice little picture of me. This is actually from when I went to Thailand the first time. As you can see, I've got David in my bio. My name isn't, Demon Dragon Slayer 25. It's not Cristiano Ronaldo lover footballer 2023. It's just my name. Just a clear name, says David. As you can see, I've got appointment setting and high ticket sales in the bio. I've got a nice little Bible quote. And that is quite literally how simple your account has to look like, all right? Now, obviously, the better and the more you have, the better. So as you can see here, I had 5 posts up, and I had a ton of highlights, right? I had highlights, I had my client results there. Say if you've been obviously appointment setting and you've worked for a client, then you can put the results in there. But if you don't worry. All you have to know and all they have to understand is that you've paid for your professional training. If you haven't, definitely go look into having a mentor, because it will help you massively, right? But yeah, this is what mine looked like back in the day. A bio, clean profile picture, make sure you have your face in yours, and just highlights of you living life. As you can see here, I've got highlights from 2023, 24, 22, back in the day. Good amount of posts showing that I'm actually a real person. I'm not just a bot. I'm not one of these bot Indian accounts from Pakistan that, just make account and start outreaching people to become an appointment setter for them. I'm actually a real person, okay? Cool. So as you can see here now, that is what my profile looked like. And truthfully, if your page looks like a bot, you will not get replies, okay? Say that again, like if you don't look like a real human person, a human being, if you don't look like you have like some sort of a life, if you don't look like a normal person, your page will not get replies, okay? I see too many people with no profile picture, a weird name, and just put setter in their bio, and they automatically think, oh yeah, a business owner is going to see setter in my bio. But even though they can't see my face, they'll still reply to me and I'll still be able to get hired. But it doesn't work like that, okay? As human beings, we are impressionable people, right? And we make our impressions based on, the first 5 seconds of interacting with someone, right? So if we interact with someone on their page, and no matter, they could be claiming to be the best setter in the world, but if we go on their page, they look like a little bit of a bot, they've got no images, they've got no pictures, we're probably not going to reply to them, even though they could probably be the best setter in the world, okay? For example, right? Like, here's an example of someone who you should not look like. As you can see, his name says Biraj Atram Banilla, okay? He's got no profile picture, and he just outreached me. I cut out the outreach, but he just outreached me on some nonsense, okay? Literally 0 posts, 0 followers, 0 following, clearly just a bot account, or even if it was a real person, it's useless, no one's going to reply to that. He could have had the best outreach message ever in the world. No one is going to reply to that, okay? Your page is probably the first and one of the most important ingredients to getting hired, okay? And you must ensure that you optimize it in every single way possible in order to get a higher chance of replies. You want to post pics. If you've got no pics, go and take some, okay? Get your boys to just take pictures of you. You want to be that annoying guy that tells everyone, oh, take pics of me, I think I look really cool here. Take a pic here, take a pic here, take a pic here. Because that is what is going to build your portfolio of pictures, and then that is essentially what is going to make sure you get hired. It's going to make sure that your profile is optimized. That's what's going to make sure your profile is optimized, and if your profile is optimized, you're going to get more replies. Even if your outreach message isn't even that good, you are going to be able to get hired, okay? So yeah, post pics. If you have none, go get your boys to take some. Super easy. Get a blue tick, okay? I used to be one of those people that I thought getting the blue tick was really, really weird, really cringe. I still subtly do think that from time to time I have to slap myself out of it. But honestly, jokes aside, like getting a blue tick and getting verified, it will do wonders for you. And the reason why it will do wonders for you is when you're outreaching business owners, if they can see you're verified, subconsciously they're more likely to click on that message at least, or more likely to respond to that message because, as I said, you're clearly verified, right? You're someone who has gone out of them. They'll be able to tell that you've paid for it. You can pay for it. £7 a month subscription. But stuff like that is what makes business owners want to reply to you, and it shows that you're engaged. You know what I mean? It shows that you're actually going the extra mile, and you're actually serious about this. Because there's so many appointment setters now in the market, which I addressed in the video before this, that just aren't serious. Make sure you're public, okay? Don't have a private account. Post some highlights, and make sure you've got a clear bio explaining you and what it is that you do. Okay, it's like a mental exercise you need to go through with yourself. Is you need to think, all right, cool. If I saw my page, you look at your profile and say, if I saw this page in my requests, would I reply to them or not? Okay, what would I think about them? Would I be enticed to answer this message, or would I just leave it? And you want to put yourself in the perspective of a successful business owner that makes a crazy amount of money, that has so many people to talk to, that's so busy, that really and truly doesn't have the time to answer everyone. If you look at your page and realize that you yourself probably wouldn't reply to yourself, then you need to optimize it. You need to change it immediately. Okay, what I want you to understand is that in 2026, right, your Instagram page is literally your CV. Your Instagram page is literally your modern form of CV. Okay, so if you don't have a good page, you've got a shit CV. It's like applying to jobs with a shit CV. With a shit CV, you're not going to get hired, are you? Not in sales, but just in everything. It's like in how people perceive you, in making friends, and even getting girls. Like, look at your Instagram page. It's like, if I've got an optimal profile page, I'm going to get a higher conversion rate when I'm speaking to women as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always a plus, right? You understand that your Instagram page in 2026, that is going to unlock the key to so much things for you, so much opportunities, and so much growth for work. Like, I've made an insane amount of money off of my Instagram, and just having an optimized Instagram page. Honestly, it's the key. So you must ensure your page is dialed, otherwise you are playing at a disadvantage. Like I said, right, you could have the best outreach message ever, however, if you look like a bozo, you're not getting a reply. Another way that you're going to actually be able to optimize your profile is by maximize your IG stories, okay? Your Instagram stories are the best way to put an impression and showcase the type of lifestyle that you have, and show that you're a person, and show that show to people viewing your page the type of person that you are. Like, if we go on Instagram right now, right, and if we go on to my story page, if we go onto Instagram and we go to my story page, give me a second. As we can see, right, first things first, what have you got me doing? I'm in Thailand right now. We've got me hitting the bag, looking dangerous, looking good. Perfect. It shows people a little bit what I am. If I outreach a business owner right now, they're going to be like, oh shit, this guy's in Thailand. Oh, that's pretty cool. He can fight as well. And then you've got some sick results from some of the boys in my sales community, right? Stuff like that. Like, always make sure that you're posting your IG stories as well, because it's the best way to put your impression on someone who is viewing your page. And highlights are literally the first thing that they look at. Okay, so you want to ensure that you're constantly posting your highlights, and make sure you try to aura farm a little bit. Like, genuinely aura farming, especially when you're trying to hire a client, aura farming will do you so well. Because if we go on my highlights right now, the first thing you're probably going to look at, like, you think it's going to be my post, right? But it's actually just going to be my highlights. You're going to look at my post a little bit, and then you're going to look at my highlights. So it's one of the two, okay? So yeah, you always want to make sure you're aura farming your posts and your highlights as well, and just making sure you've constantly got posts up, okay? Always try to have a story posted. As business owners that you outreach are going to look at that, and the first thing that they can see is that if they look on your highlights, if they see that little highlighted button around your story, see that you're doing things and you seem like a good guy to be around, they are way more likely to respond to you, okay? Here are some examples of people with sick highlights, okay? Obviously, we've got my mentor here, we've got my highlights, we've got some guys that are just sick that just came to mind when I was scrolling on Instagram. And I know it's gay, right? But like, you kind of just need to look at optimizing your profile page as a high-ticket sales rep. You kind of just need to look smacks, okay? You honestly want to treat it as like a treats fair page, okay? Obviously, I know we're probably going to get flamed on Instagram, like, oh, men used to go to war and now they optimize their highlights, but this is how we make more money. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is exactly what I want you to do. Obviously, make sure your highlights are optimized and make sure you've got good posts up, posts of you doing your thing, as you can see back here. This was before I was even making money online. This was me boxing, me in Thailand, me that was in Cyprus, that was me in Zimbabwe, just me doing cool stuff, clean profile picture, highlights of me living my life, good amount of posts showing that I'm a real person, and also a clear name, okay? If you have an Instagram page like this, I promise you it will be impossible for you not to get hired. Hopefully you guys find that useful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cool, guys, so welcome to episode 4 of Bootcamp. This episode, we are going to be speaking about finding businesses and outreaching businesses. Okay, I've spoke a lot about the mindset. Last time I spoke about obviously the page and making sure that you've got everything dialed in, so that when you start outreaching, you yield the best results. But now it's actually time to start outreaching, and then after this, we're going to get into more of like the mindset and the sales techniques that you employ when you're speaking to clients or when you're speaking and prospecting on behalf of your clients. But yeah, today, truthfully, this alongside with the actual modules when I'm speaking about actually like, optimizing your profile, and every single like module on this page, to be honest, every single thing, like you need to internalize everything and not take any of these information that's just for granted, especially if you're getting started. Okay, because truthfully, right now, the source I'm about to give you on this information, people charge insane amounts of money for. And I'm just about to make sure that you absolutely bang it, you get it for free, and that you really just need to make sure you internalize all of this, all right? Because we're letting the source, and as long as you utilize all of this, you're going to absolutely cook, okay? But let's talk about initially finding businesses. Okay. Now, there are a few different ways you're going to be able to find businesses. Obviously, the personal favorite and really just the go to is Instagram, right? My personal favorite. And the way you're going to use Instagram is by keywords, hashtags, and association and speaking to other people, right? But let me go through mainly the keywords and the hashtags. So if we go into my browser here, and then if we go into here, as you can see right here, I just searched up fitness coach, right? I searched up fitness coach, and what came up when I saw fitness coach was a fitness coach. Okay, so as a high ticket sales rep looking to get placed onto someone to work with, you would utilize search engines and you would utilize the Instagram search engine to find business owners like this guy who has got a good page, he's got a load of followers, he's clearly posting content, he's clearly got client results. You would utilize hashtags to find people like him. You'd message him, and then guess what? You'd go through his mutuals, okay? You'd go through his followers. Okay, no, you wouldn't go through his followers, but you'd go through his following. Okay, because guess what? He's going to be following other business owners probably that also need high ticket sales reps and that you can also outreach. Okay, and then after you go through his Instagram and after you go through his following, guess what? If you're doing it on phone, okay, it's also right here. You'll then go on here and you'll go through the suggested. And now look, we've got tons of other people. We've got tons of other business owners like him. Okay, it's not doing a good job in showing here, but as you can see, Lucas Wood is this a business owner? Okay, this isn't a business owner now. Let's quickly search through here until we find someone that we can outreach. Uh, Give me a second. Cool. I was just got distracted, but let's go ahead and see if we can find a business owner. If it carries on doing this, my laptop is just being an enemy of progress. Give me a second. Let's carry on. Okay, perfect. There might be some people here. Let's see. Scott Waterfall. Perfect. As we can see here, Scott Waterfall, another business owner. And now look, you outreach him, you go through his following, you go through his mutuals, and it's just a never ending cycle. Can you see here how literally, say if you go through here, you go through his following, okay, and you find another business owner, you find someone else like, you find William Scott, right? And so you go through this guy first things first. You outreach all of the people on here that he follows, okay? Trying to find people that are like exact demographic of people that you can work with. After you've done all of those people, you just go into the people that you've outreached and you go through their following as well. As you can see, that is literally how you find unlimited amount of clients. And truthfully, now in this day and age, in this info space, when there's constantly tons of new business owners, there's tons of new people out and about. Like it's almost like the amount of business owners and the amount of people that you can outreach on Instagram are ridiculous. They're endless, all right? But you just need to get first at really pinpointing, all right, cool, who am I going to outreach first? Fitness coaches, e-com coaches, trading coaches, forex coaches, sales coaches, whatever. Utilize hashtags, go through their followings, go through their mutuals. Amazing. Okay. Another way you can do this as well is also growth operators and sales managers. Okay, now if you're very new into the high ticket space, you probably won't know exactly what a growth operator, what a sales manager is, right? But these are essentially people that run offers for big coaches. So I speak to a load of these growth operators. I've got a load of friends. I'm a sales manager myself. So in time to time, like a really good way to outreach a client. I'm not telling you to do this, by the way, because I only hire from people who I train one to one, right? But what I'm saying is like a really good way that you'd actually be able to outreach and start finding clients is actually outreaching these growth operators and these sales managers. Okay. Anyone you see as a growth operator, you see as a sales manager, you DM them, ask them, hey, bro, can see you're a growth operator. Um, I know you get messages like this over time. Sorry to be like one of those guys, bro. Just wanted to leave myself in your DMs in case you've got any slots for setting or closing roles. Okay, a super basic message like that. And first things first, the growth operator will appreciate that you've reached out to them. They'll appreciate, all right, cool, I've got this guy in the back of their head because constantly these guys are always hiring, and they might even have a role for you to get on already, or they might be able to point you in the right direction. Okay, so growth operator, someone like the biggest growth operators people I can think of are people like, I don't know, Jay Singland or Mahiz. Okay, these are also great people as well. That once I suggest the number one thing you should do when you first start getting into appointments then is you want to follow as much people as possible. When I say follow as much people as possible, you want to follow as much people that are prominent and that are in the mix with a load of other business owners. Okay, so I can imagine this guy, he owns a coaching program. Okay, so think about it. If he owns a coaching program and he helps coaches, he follows loads of coaches. Okay, he has loads of coaches in his DMs in and around his circle that are looking to be hired. So guess what? You can outreach them and you can get hired. Okay, super simple. Okay, so that is another way that you can get placed and find businesses. Facebook, Twitter, those are also things I don't really use those much as, and I don't advise my one-to-ones to use it as much, but it also works. You can also join communities as well, like join one-to-one communities. Like for instance, if I go onto my Discord right now, go onto my Discord right now, right, and constantly it's just constantly is just opportunity after opportunity. Boys posting opportunities. You've got managers in there. You can see the vibe as well, as you can see. Um, posting, me posting a DM role. Okay. The other day I had a business owner, one of my friends, he's doing about 100K a month. He reached out to me, said, yo, bro, do you have any SDLs? I put it straight into the chat. Okay. So being around people, that is another great way. And that's probably the most leveraged way that you're going to be able to find offers is by talking to people. If you're able to get into a community full of other like-minded boys like you're able to get around boys that are doing what you're doing, that have got the same mindset, that have got the same mission. Guess what? You're going to be able to build friendships, you're going to be able to build connections, and you'll be able to even maybe, if they've got space to get on another role, you can get on roles with them as well. Okay? Truthfully, when it comes down to actually being able to connect with other people that are in the high ticket sales space, it's the leverage way because, at the end of the day, how else do you plan to grow if you don't have anyone around you? The best people and the people that have achieved the most, the way I achieved the most at the beginning was by joining a community and genuinely just being the most active person in there. Sending messages, everyone knowing who I was, messaging everyone, getting on calls with everyone. And guess what? Opportunities just found me. You don't create opportunity doesn't create itself, you create it, right? Literally, opportunity is just luck is genuinely just how much chance you give yourself at being lucky. Are you always in the right rooms? Are you always in the right community? Are you learning from the right people? Okay, you can have to get this lone wolf, lone mentality mindset out of it because what you need to understand is the best way to get to where you want to get to is by learning from someone who has already got to where you want to get to. Okay, so when it comes down to finding businesses and when it comes down to how you're going to get hired, that is a really, really good way. You can also use apps and sites like School. Okay, so let me log into School. So if we're going to School here, a great way that you can find communities is by going to the School tab, right? Just give me a second. So if you go into Discover Communities, there are constantly different pages on here, and you could always go on here, outreach to people that own the communities. But a great way, and probably the most high IQ way to do would be finding ones with business owners. Okay, so zero to founder. Okay, with this one, joining this and literally paying the money. Okay, because if you pay the money to get around the right people, genuinely, if you pay £119 and you're able to land a 3 to 5K per month role, that's what, 60K a year. You've essentially paid £119 and you've landed a 60K a year opportunity. Is that worth it? Do you know what I mean? If someone came to you and said, "Give me £100, I'm going to give you 60K," you'd throw that money at them. Okay, so being able to join communities and find places like this with other business owners, amazing. Okay, but this is a great way. You can also just join free ones as well, Acquisition Scale Advisory, Alex Omozi. There's going to be a ton of business owners in here. Actually, I'm not sure. Verified community. For 1 million. Okay, now this is for business owners doing 1 million a month. But it's just free because he's got all of his members in here. But finding people who are really big in the space, going on their community, for instance, free school course right here. Learn how to make money with online courses. Okay, you'll be some low level business owners in here, but also some really high level business owners in here, and that is a great way that you're going to be able to use school and be able to find businesses. Okay, so just to recap, Instagram, my personal favorite, hashtags, and like buzzwords like fitness coach, business coach, coach, trading, high ticket sales, creator, stuff like that. Growth operators and sales managers, amazing. Facebook, Twitter, I don't really use those, but you can use those. Joining communities like one-to-one communities and coaching communities, building networks and being able to get placed through those, and stuff like school as well. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next one when we go into the actual outreach and the types of messages you can be sending these people. Hope you guys find that useful, and I'll catch you soon. Cool. So guys, let's talk about prospecting and actually sending outreach messages. Okay. So last episode, I walked you guys through how exactly we're going to be finding businesses, which is obviously using Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, communities, school, whatever it is. But now, today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys through exactly how to message them and the different types of ways you are actually going to obviously message these clients, prospect them, and then sign them as your client, right? And there's two different types of ways that you can prospect a client. You can either prospect a client directly, or you can prospect a client indirectly. Okay, and essentially what it is finding a business to offer your appointments and services for. Now, there's a range that you can do, kind of like I explained over here in the episode before this, but my personal favorite is Instagram, all right? And prospecting is the act of finding clients to work for, and there's two ways. You can do it direct or indirect. I just repeated myself there. Cool. Here's an example of what a direct message is. So a direct message, essentially the theory behind a direct message is in the first message that you're sending a direct pitch as to what it is that you are wanting them to do. So in this situation, we'd be directly pitching them for us to be their high ticket sales rep, whether that's their appointment setter or whether that's their closer, okay? For instance, here's an example. Have you got a killer appointment setter booking you calls and scaling your business's revenue? If not, then we should solve that unless you hate money. Okay. Now, that was literally something I just clicked up right here before. And as you can see, it's an example of prospecting, right? You're going straight to the point and you're doing it directly. So they have no sort of questions or no sort of confusion on what it is that you're looking to do. Okay, it's very clear by what your message is, what you're looking to do, and they can obviously go through your profile and they can decide if they want to obviously reply back or ask any questions. Okay, indirect is essentially asking a question. Okay, you are obviously still prospecting them, but you are prospecting them indirectly, and you are prospecting them by essentially reaching out to them and starting a conversation that you are going to move and progress into what the end goal is, right? So it's the indirect way of obviously direct prospecting, which is, have you ever worked with an appointment setter before? Can you see by this message, we're not directly pitching them anything. We're not directly asking them anything. We're not directly trying to give them a solution straight away. We're simply just asking them, all right, cool, like, have you worked with a setter before? Do you know what I mean? Okay, it's a question. And this is what you'd kind of use as an example of indirect. Okay, and obviously you'd split test and you'd find different ways for you to kind of put your own twin on it. Okay. Now, some messages are better to send directly, and some people are better to message directly, and some people are better to message indirectly. All right. For instance, big accounts. All right. People like, I don't know, some of the biggest pace people that you can see. Say if Iman Ghazi posted on their story he's hiring some sales reps. The worst thing that you could do is message in Iman Ghazi an indirect message. Okay, because obviously even though it's probably not even going to be him handling the DMs, it might be his VA or whoever. And even if it was him handling the DMs at the moment, he does not have the time to be having indirect conversations with people. Okay, especially people that he doesn't know. Okay, so a bigger account, people with more followers, you want to go straight and direct to the point and show them exactly what it is that you want to do for them and allow them to evaluate it from there, all right? And obviously you're going to be able to use skill, and you're going to be able to use a lot of what we speak about in the modules moving forward and exactly how you're going to be able to do this. However, if you were to message, let's say, a smaller account, it'd be indirect and you'd be more like relationship building. Okay, so even like medium to smaller accounts, like indirect works well, and indirect works really well if you're trying to do something called a pattern interrupt, right? Now, a pattern interrupt is essentially something that catches people off guard. Okay, a pattern interrupt. I'm trying to like. There's so many examples of a pattern interrupt. It's like, have you ever been speaking to someone and they've just said something out of the blue? Or have you ever seen someone wearing something that's caught your eye? It's like a pattern interrupt. You've interrupted their pattern, and pattern interrupts, like you can use them in messages. That is what is going to get people to kind of, like, it's going to get people to essentially reply because it's caught their eye. They've seen the message and they're like, you know what, I want to reply. Do you know what I mean? It's caught them off by guard and they're so intrigued. Okay, so indirect messages, you can also send them to bigger accounts, but you just want to use something called a pattern interrupt. And I'll show you an example of this, all right? But here are some do's and don'ts when you're outreaching, okay? Don'ts. First things first is send long paragraphs, okay? Like, if someone sends me a message and it looks like this, all right? Don't even read what it says, but if someone sends me a message on Instagram and it looks like this, and I don't know who they are, I promise you I'm not going to read it because I probably receive hundreds like that every single month, and it's like people's attention span, people that we're dealing with nowadays, where attention span is very, very flipping short. Okay, so they are not going to, especially like business owners who are busy, they are not going to read long paragraphs, especially if they feel like you're trying to pitch them on something. Don't send a false compliment, okay? Don't say something like I love your content, especially if you don't love their content. I remember the first time I was ever doing some outreach. This was like one of my ever first dates. I was doing some outreach. I messaged the business owner. I was like, love your content, bro. And he was like, bro, you literally just followed me 2 minutes ago. What do you mean you love my content? He G-checked me on the call. Not even on the call. He G-checked me in the DMs. And that like really like shook me up, and I was like, oh damn, like I need to like, it's just not easy. I need to get better. So you don't want to send a false compliment like I love your content, especially if you don't. Now, don't get twisted. If you love their content, if you actually do watch, you want to mention their content and mention what you like about it and actually show that you have, you aren't just saying that to like every single person you're outreaching. But rule of thumb is you just don't want to include false compliments, okay? I just came across your page. Everyone says it. Sounds generic. You don't want to sound generic either. Like if you see other people or another 10 people or 10 of your other friends sending the same message, what do you think the worst thing to do? Send that exact same message because you're putting yourself in the category or in the same bucket as those people, right? It's like dating and pickup lines. Do you know what I mean? If you send pickup lines or if you say pickup lines that everyone else uses, it's like nothing special, okay? Now, the way you're going to be able to mitigate that, so if you are sending outreach messages that other people are using, is by going over what I said in the other modules, which is making sure you've got a sick page, you've got sick results on your page, you've done everything that you can so that people are more likely to respond. Kind of like the dating again, like the better you look, the more success you're going to have with whatever you say, okay? Don't send a message like it sounds like it's been copy and pasted to everyone. You always want to try and specifically personalize it to the person. Okay, it used to really work well, like just changing their name, but now AI can do that. So like business owners are catching on to that. But say if you're mentioning something about their page, what it is that they're doing. Say if you're sending a direct message, or even if you're sending an indirect message, you want to make it so that it looks like you've actually taken the time out to send it to them. That's why I always recommend as well, like sending multiple messages at the time, which we're going to go into later on. Okay, don't send clunky messages. And finally, make it easy to reply. Don't make them think, okay? You don't want to send a message that someone has to exert a load of brain power to reply, because guess what? They're not going to want to reply, okay? Because if it takes long for them to reply, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be in the mood to reply either way. So they're not going to, they're going to want to step back from it. But then if it's hard to reply ever, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Here are some do's though. You want to look through their page for unique things to mention, e.g. a recent post they made or posts that, they've made in the past. And actually make sure you're specific about what the post was. Don't just say your recent reel was facts, bro. Okay? Maybe also look through their following. Like I notice you're following XYZ, or I notice I notice you like this content. I notice you like this. If a business owner is able to see that you've taken the time out to actually show you've done research on what it is that they're following or what they like, it breaks the ice and it gets their first reply. You want to make your message aesthetically pleasing to VI. It's kind of like what I said earlier, right? You want to make sure that it's like chunked up. So we're saying like outreach message, intro, pitch. Like, say that's just an example, right? And it doesn't even have to just be the pitch at this part, but can you see here, like in a message, you've got the intro to the message, like an example over here. Have you ever worked with an appointment have you currently got an appointment setter booking you calls? And then you either send it or you just break it down into like a paragraph. And then as you can see now, you've got the pitch and it looks more pleasing to the eye. Okay, there's some source for you there. You want to take the time to look through the page and see what you can comment about and find common interests. And you want to be creative and spark curiosity. And you want to treat the leads like you're talking to as if you were talking to a girl. All right. You know, when you're speaking to a girl, trying to make her laugh, trying to make her feel good, trying to charm her, you kind of want to treat leads like that. Okay, you want to treat these business owners like that. And obviously, you want to make sure the speed to lead is important. You're not just going to be ghosting them to, seem busy. But you're essentially going to put the same effort with every single thing that you're trying to do. You're showing your best foot forward, okay? You're still being natural. You're still not overthinking it. But, you're sparking curiosity. You're trying to make them think. You're trying to make them laugh, okay? You're trying to make them want to speak to you more. Kind of like what I said earlier, mention something interesting about what they follow, what's in their highlights, it works like a treat, okay? Let's talk about pattern interrupts too, because as I kind of spoke about here, like pattern interrupt, it catches people off guard. I remember about basically a year ago now, right? I remember I sent a business owner this message and he posted it. It was a really big guy. He said, let's have a boxing match. If I win, I'll be your setter. If I lose, I'll be your setter. Well, I changed this to sales management. He laughed and he put it on a story and it got his attention. Okay, I think I even might have a screenshot. I'm not sure if I put it here. No, I didn't put it. I didn't put the screenshot here. But yeah, it's like messages like that. The reason why he really liked that is because it was different. Okay, it was something that he probably gets messages like this all the time, but because I sent that and because it was different, he was like, yeah, all right, this guy's cool. And we actually had a conversation, okay? He laughed, he put it on a story, and it was a pattern interrupt, and I wasn't taking it too seriously. A load of people with that outreach message, the mistake that they'll make is, they'll be super strict, super regimented, and they're just not thinking. They're not having fun with it, and they're not thinking outside of the box, okay? So that's always what you want to think about and what you want to incorporate when you're sending outreach messages. Like a good message example here is like, you're real about the best ways to lose my weight by macro count and change my perspective on a lot of my daily eating habits, bro. Keep up the good work. You probably get these messages all the time. I just wanted to see if you had a setter at the moment, or if you had a setter also. Or you could even end it off with like, all right, cool. You can make it a kind of indirect message, like, are you handling your DMs at the moment? Notice how this one, I wanted to see if you had a setter also. It's kind of like direct because he knows that's what you're pitching for. So is this, but this is more of like an indirect question. Or, yo, bro, I love the message. I love the emphasis on your page about personal branding. It's true, personal branding is the way forward. I've been working as an appointment setter for a while now, okay? Something like that, okay, it clearly shows, obviously, as you can see, this was directed to a fitness coach. This would be someone who maybe helps people with personal branding, or, if you were to do it with trading coach, whoever you're outreaching to, it's the exact same effect, right? But essentially you're thinking of well thought out things and like showing what you've actually observed their page, okay? Have you got a killer appointment set up booking you calls? Okay, a terrible message is something like this. It's like, hey bro, I just came across your page and I really love your content. I think the videos you're posting are amazing. Are you currently working with a commission-based appointment setter? I can come into your business and help you book a ton of calls and make you tons of sales. Okay, there's so many things wrong with this message. Hey bro, hey equals, like, we never want to be sending hey like the beginning of our messages because everyone says this. I just came across your page, second red flag that I talked about. Love your content. Nothing actually mention what they like about their content. I think the videos you post are amazing. It's like, there's no substance. Okay, we're not showing that we've actually taken a look, and it looks copy and pasted. Are you currently working with a commission-based appointment setter at the moment? I can come into your business and help you book tons of calls. We're just pitching something straight away and we're sounding desperate, okay? That is not what you want your message to sound like, and you want to make sure that your message just sounds like this and that you're also thinking outside the box, all right? You want to go out and genuinely just have fun. One of the best ways to become creative and get people and business owners to reply is think, how can I say something that this business owner has never heard? Okay, like these were some messages me and my student made up out here in Thailand. It was like, 1 month of me appointment setting is all we need to show you how I completely changed the game. So let me know if you want to make more money. If you don't hear me out on how I can be your appointment setter, you clearly, seriously must hate money. As you can see there, these are messages that literally just going out and having fun. Okay, weren't taking it too seriously, weren't taking ourselves too seriously, but we were showing them that, listen, we're great guys. We were adding our own personality. We were thinking, all right, how can I make a pattern interrupt? How can I make it so that he has never heard this before, and that's why they worked. All right, so hopefully you found that video useful. This is the 2 types of ways that you're going to be prospecting clients if you're doing outreach. Remember those do's, remember those don'ts, remember those examples. Go away and actually split test these things. Split test how you can actually make them better. Okay, if you don't know what split testing, you probably don't actually know what split testing is. So that's probably what's going to be my next message, video. But other than that, guys, crush it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode of Bootcamp. Cool. Guys, welcome to today's episode of Bootcamp, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't know what episode this is. All I know is I've just been dropping the hate for you guys. I've been getting so much good reviews of people saying that the bootcamps have been super useful. It's been helping them action. It's been helping them make money. And truthfully, that's what I'm doing this for. Do you know what I mean? If I can help you guys make some more money, it'll be good for my aura. It'll be good for your guys' energy too. And we're all just going to be winning, all right? And today, I'm probably going to be walking you guys through. I genuinely think it's the most important episode of the bootcamp. This formula right here that I'm about to teach you is genuinely the most important part of the bootcamp, because if you master this, not only will you make the most amount of money you've ever made in high ticket sales, but you'll genuinely just be able to make the most amount of money in any single thing in your life. You'll be able to crush it in any single aspect of your life, because truthfully, to succeed, all you need to do is master these 3 things. Okay, when it comes down to getting good at something, there's a specific formula that I learned recently, actually. I learned it from one of the GOATs, Alex Hormozi. And it goes something along the looks of this. In order to get good at something, you've got failure, all right? In order to get good at something, first you start and you fail. And then from that failure, you learn. And then from that learning, you become successful, okay? From that learning and then from becoming successful, you become complacent. And then after becoming complacent, guess what? You fail again, all right? This is what happens to quite literally everyone in life. This is what happens when people fall off, all right? Sorry if you can hear the thunder, by the way. I'm in Bali right now, as you can tell, and it's rainy season. It's going absolutely crazy. But as you can tell, right, in life, when you think of the greats, when you think of people that were really good at something but they fell off, it felt like something like this, right? They started something, they probably weren't the best at it in the beginning, okay, and they failed. So they started learning. They started dedicating their time and, dedicating their craft to getting really, really, really good at it. And then they started learning. And then from that learning came success. They got really good at it. But then that success, they believed the hype and they became complacent. And then from that complacency, they failed. And then guess what? The loop started again. This is a loop that the majority of people go in life. And I want to teach you guys how personally you can make sure that in any single thing in life, you can first of all avoid this loop and just go from constantly learning to success, learning to success, learning to success, instead of complacency and failure, even though you are always going to fail, and how you can make sure that you can become a top performer, right? And truthfully, this all comes down to the most important aspect, which is the mind. In life, the mindset at how you attack every single thing is going to be the make or break between if you become successful with it, okay? And that's why every single day, every single time that you do high ticket sales, and every single time that you're going to be appointment setting or where you're going to be taking calls, you need to have the mantra that it's 1% better every single day. And you also need to understand that you need to do what you're doing with intention. You need to have the intention to get better. And you need to have the intention to get good. Because I love to use this analogy. Do you ever see those people in the gym that have been at the gym, I swear down, they've been going to the gym for 5 years, but they still look the exact same as they did when they first started? It's because the mindset isn't there. And they're not attacking it with the mindset of getting good. Okay? They're not going 100% better every single day, and they are not trying to win. They're simply going through the motions. Going through the motions and trying to achieve a goal will never, ever get you to become a top performer. It will never get you to the top echelons of people in sales that make a load of money. And it will genuinely just absolutely ruin your trajectory. Okay? Because what you need to understand is you can't coast your way to greatness. This is another thing that I learned very recently. I learned this today, okay, from a big entrepreneur that I was with. You can't coast to greatness. Becoming great and achieving great things is extremely, extremely intentional. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while, but welcome to this week's episode of Bootcamp, all right? As you guys are aware, I started a bootcamp on this series where I literally show you guys to go from zero to scratch, literally start from zero to making over multiple thousands per month online as an appointment setter and in high ticket sales. And I've noticed that for the past couple of months, I was away, I was traveling, I was focused on so much other things, I was focused on the students, etc. I literally realized the other day that I hadn't recorded a bootcamp video in about 2-3 months. Okay, now for the guys that have been waiting for this, I've been getting so many messages. Don't worry, we're back, and I promise you guys we're going to be uploading every single week. And today I wanted to make a video, and this video actually comes at a perfect time because it's something that I've really been drilling into my one-on-one students and the people that I work with on a one-on-one basis on my sales coaching. All right, and what this actual thing is, this is the fact that most appointment setters and most sales reps are flying blind, okay? A load of sales reps that I speak to on a day-to-day basis are working hard, but they can't name me a single metric and they can't name me a single bit of data that they've tracked, okay? I ask them for how many messages have you sent? You don't know. I ask them how many replies are you getting? I don't know. I ask them what's their booking rate? I don't know. I ask them what their reply rate is, what their show rate is, what their close rate is. Everything is just, like nothing is clear. And the number one thing that I teach all of my students and that I learned very, very early on in life and just in sales in general is that what you don't track, you can't grow. And as a sales rep, your number one focus needs to be, all right, cool, how can I track every single one of my numbers and how can I track every single one of my metrics so that I know exactly what's going on? That is why exactly for every single one of my coaching students as well, right? If we go on to here, I've quite literally just built a dashboard for every single person that I bring in. And now, right, for instance, I'll show an example of like a student. Okay, so I'll literally use myself as a test here. Okay, it's not even here. But every single person now, I'll be able to go in here and I'll be able to see their exact metrics. Okay, they fill out a report at the end of every single week, and this shows me exactly their outreach messages, how much they're sending, what their reply rate is, what they're struggling with. And this is what gives me, and not only me, but this is also what gives them visibility on exactly what it is that they're struggling with and exactly what it is that they need to fix. Because as an appointment setter, your numbers are the main thing. If you're working for a client, he needs to know the numbers and he needs to know what you're working on every single week. And also when you're outreaching for yourself, you need to know what the numbers are and exactly what you're struggling with every single week, okay? The reason why this matters is because if not, you're going off of feelings, okay? A lot of setters and a lot of people will pity themselves and they'll be like, oh, I didn't book any calls, but I sent so much messages. And then when they actually go and look at how much messages they sent about 20 messages a day. They sent about 100 messages that whole week. And that is nowhere near the standard. That is nowhere near the amount of messages that they should have sent in order to land a client, okay? And the difference between the broke setter and the setters that are making 10, 15K per month is not separated by effort, but it's actually separated by clarity and knowing exactly where they're going wrong and exactly what is missing, okay? Because as an appointment setter, as you guys know, you're in charge of the whole booking process. And the booking process and the amount of money that the business makes is a direct output to the amount of numbers. How much outreach messages are you sending every single day? How much people are you pitching? Okay, next video, I'm going to be covering like tracking data, everything that you need to track. But what you need to understand is visibility is key, and the numbers and the specific metrics that you need to keep a look at, and you need to find a way of tracking, whether that's through your notes, whether that's through a CRM like this, which is what I get every single one of my setters using. Okay, a CRM like this, and I'm going to go more into depth with this later on. Even stuff like the split test, okay? Coming on here, and this will all make sense. This will all be a lot clearer later on in the video. Let's get back to the presentation now, okay? The core idea is that effort without tracking is quite literally hope, okay? And feedback, a feedback loop, a constant feedback loop of input, feedback on the numbers and the data that you're getting, and then an improvement. That is the only way you are going to improve as a sales rep. And that's the only way that you're going to make more money. Because in sales, the amount of money that you make, your income is directly correlated to your performance, okay? And in order to actually make sure your performance is better, you need a feedback loop and you need to track everything so that you've got everything under wraps. So these are the number one metrics that you need to actually track. And we're going to go into this a little bit more depth later on. First things first, the amount of DMs sent, okay? Whether you're outreaching for yourself or whether you're outreaching for a client, you need to aim for at least 50 to 100 DMs every single day. And you need to track this, okay? You need to go into the CRM like I just showed you here. I'm going to escape this. You need to go into the CRM. Okay, and you need to go into here, and then you need to have a split test, okay? And you need to be able to add messages, and every single day you send a new message, you type the message in here, say test, and every single day you come in here and you track how much messages have you sent, how much replies have you got. Okay, you need to try and test these things every single day so that you know exactly if your message is working, if what you're saying to these leads are working, and what you need to improve. Okay, so that's the first thing. You need to track your DM sent. Then you need to track your reply rate, and your reply rate is essentially just the amount of DMs that you send and the amount of replies that you get. Okay, that CRM that I just showed you will literally show you a reply rate, and you can also track your reply rate for all of these things, like let's say a close. Okay, say if you're booking people in and you have a specific message that you want to test, you should have a message for all of these things. You need to track it for that. Okay, you need to know your conversation rate. Okay, how much people are you actually having a conversation with on a day-to-day basis? This again comes down to your daily report. So you need to kind of send a daily report to yourself at the end of every single day, and your daily report needs to include the DM sent, the replies, the conversations that you were having, the pitches that you had, and the people that you booked. Okay, another number that you need to understand is your book rate. These are the amount of people that you're having a conversation with. How many people do you actually book on? If you're speaking to 50 people a day, how many people are you booking? And this comes with your end of day report. This is where you always want to track these numbers. You can quite literally create a Google form with all of these things. You send yourself a link, you copy and paste the link, and you fill that out every single day. And then over a week, you can come on here and you can look, all right, cool. What were all my numbers? What was my booking rate? What was my how many people did I pitch? Okay. Next thing, show rate. This is really important as an appointment setter because you need to be booking calls that actually show up. Okay, so your show rate is so key, and your show rate is so important because if you don't know how many of the people that you're actually, if a lot of people that you're booking aren't showing up to their calls, that shows that you're clearly not doing something right as an appointment setter that is causing these people to not to want to show up to the calls that you're booking. So your show rate is super important. Okay, and then finally is the close rate. This is the close rate. You share this metric with your closer, but another good indication of if you're doing your job correctly as an appointment setter is how many people of the people that you actually book, how many of them are actually closing. If your close rate is super low, you never want to blame it on your closer. You want to take full accountability, which is what I went through for the expectations. You want to take a look and you want to see, all right, cool, like, hang on, what can I improve in these conversations? Or why are the people, the leads that I'm booking in, why are they not buying? Why do they have all of these objections? And what can I fix on my end so that I can make sure that, I make more money and the business makes more money. Okay, for weekly review, every single Sunday night, you want to go over this, okay? You want to overview your numbers and you want to look at, all right, cool, what was up, okay? What were my numbers? And you want to, obviously, this is going to compound over the amount of weeks of data that you have, but you want to see what numbers of myself went up, okay? Did I have a higher reply rate? Did I have a higher book rate? You want to look at the data and whatever improved, you know that, all right, cool, whatever I did this week worked. You go back and you review that and you say, okay, we need to keep that. Again, you want to look at what went down. Was my show rate down this month? Okay, so if my show rate was down this week, that means I wasn't doing something with these people that I was booking in on these calls to make sure that they actually wanted to show up. Was I nurturing them correctly? Okay, did I make it clear what they were going to get out of this call? Did I, make them really want and really like get an actual reason for them to show up to the call? Or was I just booking them for no reason? You want to figure out what the bottleneck is, the bottleneck that you're fixing this week. That was obviously what went down, and then every single week you just want to go into that week with focus on. All right, so say if your issue the last week was the reply rate, now you go into that next week with the clarity. All right, cool, my reply rate was super low this week, so I need to make sure that the messages that I'm sending are getting replies, and I'm going to do that by changing my message. I'm going to split test everything. I'm going to see which messages are getting the most replies, and then guess what? That's what's going to improve. The reason why this kind of really fixes everything is every single episode that we go through now, all of these is dependent on numbers, okay? And we really, really, really need to understand what our numbers are, what our strong points are, and what our weak points are. So when I'm going through the actual theory with you, and when I'm walking you through the frameworks and everything like that, you know that all of this depends on the outreach that you're doing. This depends on your show rate, your close rate, okay? And stuff like this, if you don't know your numbers, if you don't have the data and the software and the tracking, if you don't have all of that dialed in, which is I'm going to go through a full CRM tutorial, the exact CRM, the exact software that you use, you will suffer, all right? But going into this week, until next episode, I want you guys to first things first, make a report, make that Google Google form. I'll literally show you how to do that. Make that Google form, and then you'll be able to exactly track what is going wrong and what you need to fix, okay? I'll literally show you how to do that right now as well. You can literally come in here, you can go onto Google Forms. Amazing. Cool. So what you're going to do, the main things that you're going to want to track is outreach sent, replies, these are the replies right there, conversations, pitch, booked. Okay. So the outreach sent, the replies, the conversations, and the pitch. Obviously, you want to change this to a short answer, and you want to change this to, there should be a number option, but if there's not, you just want to change it to a short answer. And then what you do is you just get the link form. You'll copy and paste this and you fill it out every single week. And then in the responses, you have all of the responses. You'll be able to put all of the numbers together, track your reply rate, track everything, you know, with the sort of formulas that I showed you here, and your life will be so much easier, right? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys take care.